Hi, my name is Alexei Pukanikin, and we're ballin' today, tomorrow, and most definitely yesterday. At what cost? Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful summer holiday right now for the boy, and we're just out here at the summer cottage. We're out here by the docks, just enjoying the sun, enjoying the summer breeze out here while in between race weekends, in between all the action. Luckily, these weekdays, they don't really do nothing for me, so it's perfect time to just be out here in the nature. But last weekend, we were out in the nature of Austria in Formula One and at the Red Bull Ring. And let's just say, even though it was Red Bull home advantage, it did not go too well for Red Bull. All right, but let me start it off with the man of the hour, the man of last weekend, which was Lando Norris. Strikes back. All right, just when we thought he really messed up at the Canadian GP, I said that what we need right now in Austria is a Lando Norris masterclass, and a Lando Norris masterclass we got. He delivered. All right, strikes back, did not put a single foot wrong. Yes, there were moments. However, he kept his composure, kept his lead, even though Piastri was rapid behind him. All right, and Piastri gave it a couple of goes. We don't want to forget that. Piastri genuinely gave it a couple of tries. All right, and this was as close as the McLaren boys have been at each other during a Sunday race so far this season. I mean, other than the few laps between pit stops and stuff like that, where there was max, I think, a little bit over a 6-second gap. Other than that, Piastri was always able to stay behind Norris and pretty much within a second or two, which is insane for 70 laps on such a fucking fast lap as well. But that's it, man. And look, you're wondering why Lando Norris did so well in Austria. Of course, historically, it's just been a strong track for Lando Norris. But also, I just think that as soon as there's no lady friend, as soon as there's no baddies in the paddock or in the garage, then I think Lando Norris is on top of his game. Realistically, I think that is his weakness, is the baddies, bro. The huzz gets inside of his head. And we don't want that, all right? So, as far as Silverstone goes this upcoming weekend, Norris, again, let's stay disciplined. No invites to the paddock. No invites to the garage. It's unnecessary for your performance. We're thinking about your performance right now, all right? That was great stuff, all right? And good on Oscar Piastri for putting up the pressure. Also giving it a couple looks. And to be fair, we criticize Lando Norris's racecraft. I certainly have already this season, but that was pretty good racecraft defense in Austria. So you got to tip the freaking hat, all right? The pressure was always there, and he kept it together. So Lando Norris, this is exactly what we needed to keep the championship fight as close as it could be. And really, this whole summer is it's for Norris to try to get the lead back in the World Drivers' Championship. All right, so Norris, good on you. Oscar Piastri as well, good on him for not pushing too much. Of course, he could have it was in Piastri's hand to do something stupid last weekend. Piastri didn't do anything stupid, and that's all we needed. But let's just say this: Oscar Piastri probably would have had a more decent shot at taking the lead if it wasn't for Franco Colapinto in the Alpine decides to freaking, I don't know if it was decides, I don't know what it was. Maybe there was just miscommunication, but we pushed Oscar Piastri off the track when you were given the blue flag. Like, what are we doing, dude? I think the onboard footage, it looked like Franco just didn't see him, like didn't see Oscar Piastri, but it's just like, what are the race engineers doing? Like, seriously. And it's kind of like the theme of this week's episode, which is the cost of karma. Okay, karma could be good, karma could be bad, but in this situation, it was just the karma came back around. All right, Oscar Piastri, before entering F1, was in talks to join Alpine. Unfortunately, last minute negotiations went the other way. Oscar Piastri ended up going to McLaren, while Alpine actually publicly said that Oscar Piastri was going to go race for Alpine. So years, what has it been, 4 or 5 years since that happened? Took about half a decade for Alpine to get back, get revenge on Oscar Piastri. And this is just how it works, all right? This is how the universe works. This is how the karma works. It works in mysterious ways, but it was in Austria that Oscar finally really got screwed over. Yeah, but all good, Oscar Piastri. I know he's going to be fighting back. And at the end of the day, what I like the most is, as long as Oscar Piastri doesn't mess up. If he actually messes up similar to how he messed up in Australia at the start of the season, then it's kind of a bad look. But up until then, there's nothing wrong. He's as strong as ever. Let's keep the lead going all through the summer, hopefully. And that's that. That's the top two guys fighting for the championship right now. And the reason why it's top two now, not top three, Verstappen is out of the conversation, is because this is what I'm talking about with the karma stuff, all right? Max Verstappen, when the day he came into Formula One, he was known for being an aggressive driver. Even when he was rookie, he was maybe even arguably more aggressive. And then you have this year's rookie class, and out of this year's rookies, I would say Kimi Antonelli is one of the more aggressive rookies in an F1 car, and the aggressive rookie of 2025, Kimi Antonelli, after he scored his first podium in Canada. Freaking amazing performance, right? Like, brought tears to my eyes type of thing, you know? 1 week, it took him 1 week, and then went to Austria, dive bombed into, I think, technically turn 3, dive bombed, locked the rear, takes out Max Verstappen, the 4-time champion. I mean, that's just how it is, man. It comes back around. It's ridiculous. It's simply ridiculous, but that's what happened. It just came back around. Kimi Antonelli couldn't really do anything. Verstappen definitely couldn't do anything, and that's a huge retirement for Verstappen, at least, because that changes up the whole dynamic of the team standings with Red Bull. And just Verstappen now just falling behind so much that it's really not realistic to suggest that he's fighting for his 5th championship anymore. That's my opinion, but we'll just have to see how Verstappen bounces back in Silverstone, and I do think Silverstone might be as well pretty challenging for the Red Bulls. So yeah, stuff like that just happens. Feel a little bad for Antonelli because, it's kind of an easy mistake to make. Picks up a few penalty points, three place grid penalty, I think, for Silverstone. So even if the guy gets, front row or, second row on the grid, he might drop back a little bit, which in my opinion is both sides. You could look at both sides. Then maybe teams that qualify a little better might get bumped up position just because of that. So, yeah, what else? We're talking about the rookies. Gabriel Bortoleto, first career points in F1, scores a P8 in Austria while simultaneously getting kept behind by his manager, Fernando Alonso. So, again, dude, this is how the universe works. Even when you win, you can't win it all. All right, you can't win it all. All right, Gabriel Bortoleto finally had some consistent pace throughout the whole race weekend, right? And, you're like at P8, but you're just thinking like, fuck, if I could just get that P7, man. This is a 40-year-old in front of me, and he's my manager. I'm supposed to be better than this guy. Nope. Stay humble. Kept behind by his manager, and that's just how it goes. I mean, it was Gabriel Bortoleto's best performance. At least during qualifying, he just had way better pace than Nico Hülkenberg. But yeah, for sure, this was also like, this is karma in the relationship of between Alonso and Bortoleto. This was the karma, because remember what Gabriel Bortoleto did to Fernando Alonso in Saudi Arabia earlier this year. So this was like, Fernando Alonso's like, you're lucky that I didn't push you wide or nothing, because motherfucker, I would have done it. So congratulations to Gabriel Bortoleto for the points, first points in F1, and also Nico Hülkenberg in P9 after starting P20 on the grid. That is ridiculous. Of course, a few DNFs in front of him, so then that's like automatic positions gained. However, just made the right moves. Race pace is always there for Nico Hülkenberg, right? So, points after starting dead last in the grid. I mean, dude. Now, Nico Hülkenberg makes a 3 race weekends in a row of points scored. And let's just be honest here, never scored an F1 podium. That's like one of the, I guess, unfortunate achievements that Nico hasn't been able to, fulfill yet. It still can very possibly happen. But I think it's genuinely equally impressive that he's dragging that kick Sauber into the points, now 3 race weekends in a row. I mean, that is equally impressive, in my opinion, than scoring a podium in the kick Sauber or whatever car once. So, you know what? Kick Sauber really showing that they got some driver talent. You know what I'm saying? Car might not be, but if the drivers are on point and Kick Sauber have some possibility to piece the puzzles together on a race weekend and try to get yield some positive results. So shout out to Kick Sauber, man. This is the first time I can fully, in all honesty say that in the 2025 season. Liam Lawson, best career finish, P6 for the Kiwi. I mean, Austria, this is what I'm talking about. Austria is always unpredictable. You can never know what goes down in Austria. Liam Lawson, best career finish, P6 for the Kiwi. And he was the highest scoring Red Bull car during the home race weekend for Red Bull Ring. So that's it. You put my boy through the fucking ringer at the start of the season, well, this is what you get. He scores the highest out of all the Red Bull cars, all the Red Bull drivers in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. So that's karma. That's the good karma coming back, man. That's that good karma coming back, all right? Last but not least, Ferrari. Ferrari, yeah. P3, P4. Another P3 podium for Charles Leclerc, and I think improvements. I mean, look at Mercedes were almost nowhere near Ferrari in Austria. So I mean that's a positive. Still couldn't bring it to McLaren. However, it's looking good. It's looking good enough where Silverstone, something might happen. Second half of the season, something might happen. But honestly, I think overall positive Austrian GP. I mean, Lewis Hamilton went to the press and said, yeah, he feels positive. Like he thinks they've made improvements, and it wasn't like the dude actually didn't want to kill himself after a race weekend. So that's a positive for Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari guys. And if Leclerc's happy with the podium, because he's a realistic guy, right? So or not happy, but he's content with a fucking P3, right? So good on Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari guys for making small improvements, all right? Okay, last but not least, but this is like a more somber, this is more just because this is when we have to have full faith in the universe and the way karma works. Okay? Karma is a balance. And right now, karma is a bitch. That's the saying, right? Karma is a bitch. Right? And this bitch, she has all these fucking, all these requests. And she's really fucking your life up. This bitch. Right? But karma could also be a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? So let's Williams Racing. Let's look at it that way, all right? Right now it's the bitch that just causes you problems. Karma is a bitch. But karma also could be a bad bitch. That makes your life easier. She take care of the situation sometimes. And soon, Williams. Soon, my Williams boys, Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. That bad bitch gonna be right around the corner, man. She gonna take care of you, man. All right? So just keep the passion. All right? The passion is still there. You guys have full confidence in your abilities. And I need that continuously. Because one day, one race weekend, possibly in Silverstone this weekend, that bad bitch gonna pull up. She gonna pay the bill. Right? She gonna pay for the Uber. Right? She gonna wine and dine you. And that's what we need right now, bruh. Right now, karma is a bitch. It's just that annoying bitch that's like fucking your life up. You gotta like fucking pay all the bills, and she's causing you fucking problems with her attitude and fucking cars on fire and shit. Double DNF, DNF and a DNS in Austria. You want to end it all, bro. I know. You're like going like, bro, we should have scored a podium by now. But I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, one of these weekends is going to come back in the best possible way, man. And all the suffering is going to disappear, man. And it's going to be only celebrations. So please, just keep the same mentality, man. And it's going to start working out. It's going to start working out, Williams. It's going to start working out. Carlos Sainz is and will be the most unlucky driver this season. It's like he already has gone through so much bad luck this season. Like, even though we're only halfway through, he's already gone through so much bad luck where it's just like no one else can compare. But guess what? That good luck is right around the corner, Carlos. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. All right. So let's go to Silverstone. Silverstone this weekend. I mean, I genuinely think this is probably one of my favorite tracks. Fast, technical, fast. Fans are fucking lovely, or like, and it's like the track is actually owned by like a racing club or of some sort. I did not write down the name of but I think it's like a fucking very historic racing club or like a car club or something like that organization that actually owns. So it's just pure racing. Silverstone is pure racing, pure speed, pure competitiveness, pure, it's as real as it gets. So I'm very hyped to see that. However, there's also a lot of stress that comes with it. All right, it's very stressful. Silverstone known for, its gloomy weather, right? Fucking start raining cats and dogs, right? Anytime. So there's a lot of factors like that gets me a little nervous. I'm already on the edge of my seat. Already. I genuinely believe that Ferrari will do their absolute best to at the very goddamn least, give Sir Lewis Hamilton a podium. That's all we're asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Ferrari. I don't need the win. I don't need the win because it's unrealistic to think that Charles Leclerc is going to somehow finish behind Lewis Hamilton. However, you get some raindrops in there. You get a rookie crashing out, a little safety car. There's a lot of chances for Sir Lewis Hamilton to keep his streak up. What is it? 8 years in a row, he scored a podium or a win or a P2. So let's just please. The ball is in your court. I think Ferrari made the upgrades. I think they have the upgrades. And I think they have the chance to finally make Lewis Hamilton happy or not pissed off. All right? That's the main goal right now. Let's just not piss the goat off anymore. We're already on the edge. Okay? And how do you think Sir Lewis Hamilton's going to feel if he goes home to Silverstone and he can't even get on the podium? Okay, so let's just take a deep breath. Scuderia Ferrari, Fred Vasseur. Let's take a deep breath. And let's understand not the potential. Well, let's just also understand the potential here, okay? Lewis Hamilton scoring a win or a podium in Silverstone is going to be way more meaningful for the fans than, honestly, than Charles Leclerc winning in Monza. Which, again, I don't think is very possible. Just look at the McLaren and how they handle high-speed corners. But Lewis Hamilton needs this. We need this podium bad right now. All right, it was on my checklist of picks for the summer. We need this. I can take it if you need to freaking take out Kimi Antonelli. Bro, honest to God, if we need to have Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri a little screwed over for Lewis Hamilton to score a podium or the win, I'm okay with that, man. This is the first race weekend of the year where I don't care what happens to the McLarens. And if something not so good happens to the McLarens, I won't even be mad. as long as Lewis Hamilton is on that podium, any of the 3 positions, but on that podium after the Sunday race. That's it. All right, I have full faith. And also, just because of this, I mentioned this already, but Williams, we're going back to the double points. All right, this streak starts in Silverstone. Okay, double points is going to be a regular thing once again. Okay, we need to piece the puzzle together. All right, as a team, Williams, as a team, Ferrari. And I don't know. Look, it's very easy to predict some collisions, but let's just say this. What I really need right now, what I really truly do need is George Russell and Max Verstappen just crashing into each other. I need it, man. I need it because I'm waking up to Formula One news on the social media, and the only thing that these people will give a damn about is Max Verstappen in contract negotiations with Mercedes. Stop it. Let's stop it. Okay, can we just please stop this? It's not going to happen. I said this the first time I mentioned about this thing. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, bro. It simply will not happen. George Russell, Kimi Antonelli is a perfect mix of drivers at Mercedes. That's it, man. The only way that I would consider this to be realistic is if somehow Ferrari is in the conversation. If somehow the conversation is between 3 teams, like Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull are all like doing this little love triangle thing. But right now, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Yes, Mercedes might have the money to throw at Max Verstappen, but no, dude. It simply will not happen. All right? And I also just think Verstappen's too valuable for Red Bull. Whatever Merc is offering him, like money-wise, Red Bull's going to fucking offer way more. I'm telling you, Verstappen will more than likely retire before he goes to Mercedes, okay? So let's just stop the conversation, all right? But I do still think that, George Russell is in his rights to just freaking run into Max Verstappen at Silverstone. Just walk. Do it, bro. Do it. Okay, here are the predictions, all right? Here are the predictions. I think Oscar Piastri is going to score pole position on Saturday. Pole position goes to Oscar Piastri at the Silverstone 2025 qualifying. Pole position goes to Oscar Piastri. He's going to be on a flyer, and he's going to do his best. I do think maybe Charles Leclerc might be doing a little something. They might do a little something. Charles Leclerc. I also had the prediction that Mr. Saturday might be back. Silverstone is a long enough track where I think Charles Leclerc has the ability on a Saturday to, just gain time throughout every sector. But as of right now, I'm just going to put down Piastri for the pole position. And for the win, I'm going to have Lewis Hamilton because we need this right now. We need this. Spoiler alert, but Sonny Hayes did what he did in the F1 movie. Let's draw the comparison, right? Because Hollywood is totally real life. Lewis Hamilton is going to win Silverstone. He has to win at home. And he has the pace too. So he's always been super, super strong at Silverstone. He's always had incredible pace. always finds more time than the others during qualifying and during the race day. So, especially if wet weather racing is a part of Sunday as well. So let's just not screw it up for Lewis Hamilton. That's what I'm worried about. Like, okay, let's just say it starts raining during the race, but they started on dries. It's just like Fred Vasseur, Ferrari. Let's just not freak out and let's just do the normal thing and give him the most foolproof strategy there is. Okay? And let him do his thing. Let Lewis Hamilton cook. Okay, that's all we really need. And that's all we really want at Silverstone this weekend. What a wonderful doubleheader with Austria and Silverstone. And yeah, after this we take a little break. And I think we come back in Spa. No, it's not Spa yet. It's not Spa yet. Anyways, anywho, UFC 317 was last weekend. Oh my goodness, what a main card, ladies and gentlemen. What a main card. I mean, it was overall, the whole night of fighting was insane. However, the main card, once we got the ball rolling, I mean, jeez, I never wanted it to stop. All right. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima was the first matchup, men's bantamweight matchup, and Peyton Talbot looked like he actually improved a lot with his grappling, and Frank Ocean showed him love once again on Instagram, which is like a big deal for everyone. But it's also like Frank is being a little, this time the shout out was a little weird. It was like a screenshot of when Peyton Talbot was 69ing Felipe Lima in the octagon, and we're just like, wait, what? So like Frank doesn't even like really take UFC seriously. He just kind of, he's like he's like goofy with Peyton Talbot. I don't know. It's really confusing, but I don't mind because watch the UFC somehow be an outlet for Frank Ocean's inevitable album rollout. I mean, that would be sick. Friggin' Donald Trump walking out to Frank Ocean's new album, dude. That's exactly what we need, bro. All right, now let's talk about the fight of the night and very likely the fight of the year. We had Brandon Royval, who was ranked number 1 in the flyweight division, went against Joshua Van, who was ranked at number 11 in the flyweight division. Sorry, did I say lightweight? Sorry, flyweight. This is without a doubt fight of the year because the pace was insane for all 3 rounds and throughout all 3 rounds. Most significant strikes landed ever in a 3-round fight. Both strikers landed 200-plus strikes, so in total 400-plus strikes were landed through 3 rounds, 15 minutes, which is just insane. And Joshua Van did better in adjusting than Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval kind of just kept his pace. It was like a high-volume pace. With the jab and jab 1-2. However, Joshua Van did more to adjust. Did way more to adjust. Landed the more damaging shots. And last round, Joshua Van, this was a crazy adjustment. He realized that Brandon Royval has like a very wide stance, right? And then the lead leg is like fucking pretty heavy for Brandon Royval. So then Joshua Van readjusted, started hitting oblique kicks, like stomping at Brandon Royval's knees while Brandon Royval was getting ready to strike. And that was an insane adjustment that like completely threw off Brandon Royval in the last round. And then cherry on top of the cake, I think last 15 seconds, scores another knockdown on Brandon Royval. Joshua Van, the 23-year-old UFC prospect, now has had 6 wins in the UFC the past 365 days. Insanity. And with that win over, at the time, the number 1 contender, which was Brandon Royval, after that win, the decision win, Joshua Van now ranked number 1 contender in the flyweight division and is going to be the next person trying to take Alexander Pantoja's belt away from him. All right, next fight for Joshua Van will be for the flyweight belt. But yeah, that's insane. I mean, gentlemen, just insane. Like, I was fucking losing it the whole fucking 15 minutes. It was insane. What an honor to be able to witness crazy warriors fucking battle it out like that. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm fucking talking about. 23 years old, man. This guy's a savage. I need to get my life together. All right. Absolute beasts. Shout out to the both of them. Congratulations, gentlemen, for the fight of the year. Then we go real quick to Beneil Dariush versus Renato Money Moicano. Yeah, slightly underwhelming fight. I expected more aggressive grappling from Moicano. However, it never really happened. And Dariush, at least size-wise, looked pretty huge, pretty strong against Money Moicano. And Beneil Dariush did all the correct things to be able to get the decision win over Moicano. So kind of just going to keep it simple like that. Really no comments from my end. Yeah. Then we go into the co-main event. We had Alexander Pantoja, the flyweight champion of the world, defending his belt against Kai Kara France. And this was his 4th title defense. Look, if Ilia Topuria has undefeatable energy, then Pantoja has some real undefeatable energy. Same amount of confidence and calmness approaching the fight, just like Ilia Topuria. All right, and this was his 4th title defense. This Kai Kara France, arguably the hardest hitting contender for his belt that he had to defend against, and made light work. It was Pantoja went grappling heavy, which he's so calm and calculated when he's trying to grapple, and when he is grappling, and when he's doing his BJJ. So I don't think there was much Kai could have done. I mean, unless Kai was swinging for the fences, as soon as the bell rang in the first round, then maybe. But Alexander Pantoja, he is now 5th in the pound for pound rankings. Soon we might have to have conversations that he might have to go up on the top 3, because again, it's just the calmness and the confidence is insane from Alexander Pantoja. And next one's going to be against the talented and young Joshua Van, all right? So I do think the pace that Joshua Van has, and also just because he is so much younger, it's genuinely an interesting matchup. However, Pantoja's looking like a beast, man. I mean, he simply might be on the same level as Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse. The level is insane. And yeah, he can do this for a long time. I think for a long time he could be defending the flyweight belt. So yeah, shout out to Alexander Pantoja for really solidifying himself as a pound for pound great. Then we go to the main event, man. This is it. Charles Oliveira, Charles Dubronx Oliveira versus Ilya El Matador Topuria for the lightweight belt. Ilya Topuria, El Matador, a superstar and a legend. Number 1 pound for pound in the world now. He simply destroys his opponents. And his last 3 opponents have all been former champions. Yes, they might not be in their prime. However, they're still extremely dangerous. The opponents that Ilya Topuria has fought, the last 3 at least, Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and now Charles Oliveira. And it seems as though he is not slowing down. And that's almost like the difficult part, because it's just like, dude, you literally just knocked the fuck out of 3 UFC legends in a row, man. And almost with ease. With it's insane. Ilya Topuria genuinely needs to be pushed as like the next guy. The next guy. However McGregor was being depicted and pushed by the media, or the MMA media, or the UFC media, that's how we need to treat Ilya Topuria right now. Because this guy is undefeated, and when he steps in that octagon, he destroys his opponents, no matter who they are, right? Yes, I do think he should match up with Paddy Pimblett next. But it's just because it would kind of be a vacation for Ilya Topuria. Ilya Topuria has had to do so much. I mean, think about the fighting styles of Alexander Volkanovski compared to Max Holloway, compared to Charles Oliveira. 3 very different opponents with their fighting styles. So now Paddy Pimblett, yeah, sure, he's different too, but oh my goodness. You think Ilya Topuria is stressed about Paddy Pimblett, bro? And it's nothing against Paddy Pimblett. Yes, he's a pretty big 155er. I mean, pretty tall. Also, just, very fast. Has grappling skills and can knock people out. But, hey, man. We always forget Ilya Topuria is he started with grappling first, then moved to boxing and striking. So I think giving Paddy the Baddy to Ilya Topuria is a great thing for Ilya Topuria. He gets to take a bit of a breather. And, although it's tough to even find him an equivalent opponent, because he has just knocked out 3 friggin' UFC legends in a row. It's like now he just kind of has to start fighting the younger dudes who are, kind of building a name for themselves type of thing. So, yeah, sure, Paddy the Baddy, let's sell that. As long as that's over here in Europe, I'm okay with it 100%. And, yeah, Ilya Topuria is a UFC superstar. And it looks like he probably will be the next big UFC superstar at the pace that he's going. All right, at least in Europe, at least in Spain, all these guys, they're all behind him. All right, the numbers with the view count, everything. So Ilya Topuria, El Matador, I am a huge fan. I can not see you get hurt. I mean, that's literally it. It's like I feel like you can't even, this guy doesn't, what are you gonna do to him? Simply, you can't do anything to him. I mean, it's just, the aura is insane. You can't even touch him. You can't even touch this guy. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna cut it there. Still a lovely ep. We're out here in nature. I think the sauna is getting warm. I'm going to hop in the sauna, have a cold one. You know how it is. Thank you for tuning in. Next week we'll be back in the studio. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have a lovely start of July. I mean, the heat is here, so definitely stay hydrated. And always remember, stay ballin'. I'll see you next week.